So, in water pollution, starting with the basic definition of water pollution, as we have studied earlier, see the basic definition is of pollution is adding of some unwanted material that physically, chemically, or biologically they degenerate the quality of the surrounding of the environment. Okay, so that is basically pollution. So water pollution is simply adding of certain substances. These substances may be organic, inorganic, biological, chemical, etc. And these substances when added to the water, they degrade the quality of water. Okay, and this water, it becomes unfit for our use. Now the sources of water pollution can be of various type. Okay, so they can be of point source means it is actually it is directly connected, or it is directly attributing to the influence. Like we have industries. Okay, industries, they are directly discharging, if they are directly discharging their water in the river. Okay, so this is our point source. Okay, then we have diffuse or non point source. See, point source, because they are directly influencing, so they can easily be regulated and they can easily be controlled. Okay, now then we have diffused or non point source. Diffused or non point source, they are actually, they vary. Okay, they vary spatially and temporally. Okay, and obviously because of their varied nature, they are difficult to regulate. Okay, so in this diffused point source, we have community wastewater, industrial waste. Okay, so industrial discharge, they have like several inorganic or organic pollutants. Okay, so these inorganic and organic pollutant, they may prove to be highly toxic. Okay, so they are unfit for use. Then houses, we have like discharge from houses, commercial areas, sewage contents. Okay, so all these things, they come in diffused or non point source. In the point source, I took the example of industries. That was just a hypothetical example. Okay, next we have is agricultural sources. See, in agriculture, during farming, farmers nowadays, they practice commercial agriculture. Okay, so this, in the commercial agriculture, we have to use uh, high yield variety of seeds. Okay, and high yield variety of seeds, they require many pesticides, insecticides. Okay, so these pesticides, insecticides, fertilizer, all these things, they provide nutrient to the soil, but when they are added in extra amount, what happens is they are sprinkled on the soil. Okay, so they lay on the soil. Okay, now as water is added, these fertilizer, and they dissolve in the soil, and they, what happens, they percolate in the soil. Okay, so when they percolate in the soil, they reach the groundwater level. This groundwater level, somewhere at far, it is attached with the water body. Okay, so this water body, it indirectly gets polluted by the agricultural sources, and sometimes due to soil erosion and due to various gullies, they are directly linked with the water source, and they directly pollute the water. Okay, so this is how agricultural sources, they also pollute. They are also the source of water pollution. Next we have underground water pollution. So underground water pollution, as I have said, that the agricultural sources, then we have some industrial sources. So due to seepage of these toxics in the soil, and then they reach the groundwater, this underground water is polluted. Okay, now I think I've left thermal pollution. Okay, so we will start with thermal pollution. So next is our thermal pollution. So the major source of thermal pollution, as the name suggests, the major source of thermal pollution will be thermal power plant and nuclear power plant. Okay, so the power plant, they use water as a coolant, and they release hot water in the original source. Okay, so this hot water, when it is released, so because of sudden rise in temperature, the fishes and the marine life there is damaged to a quite high extent. Okay, Lastly, we have marine pollution. See, marine pollution, it basically relates to ocean and seas pollution. Okay, and as we all know that ultimately the water of rivers and all that, they are at last they are discharged, or they get in the ocean. Okay, now ocean, when the pollutants are discharged into it, dumped into it. Okay, so what happens, like on earth land mass, we have many organisms. So like three-fourth of our earth, approximately three-fourth of our earth is covered with water. So you can just imagine how many life living organisms are living in it. Okay, so this whole marine life system or ecosystem or lifestyle is damaged because of the pollutants which are added. See, major source of pollution are sinks, ships. Okay, so ships, they actually sometimes because of some accidents and all, these ships, they and cargoes, big cargoes, they drown in the oceans, and because of which the oil etc they are released in the ocean. Okay, then we have oil spills. Okay, so we actually extract oils, so we have some of the oil extracting plants in the oceans as well. Okay, near the land. Okay, so sometime what happens, because of the leakage, the oil, it starts spilling in the water, which reduces the oxygen quantity in the water, which damages, or which actually kills many living organisms, fishes, etc. Okay. Then next we have is acidification of soil, acidification of oceans because of adding of so much of industrial waste, etc. Then we have is our these solid waste materials, like we have plastics, glass, etc. These are non biodegradable waste. Okay, so these solid waste, they are discharged in the oceans, and they are consumed by these living organisms, considering that these are food. Okay, so these living organisms, they consume these like plastics and bottles, glasses, etc., and they die because of this. So we have various sources of marine pollution. Now we will look into the effects of water pollution. Okay, so first of all, we will look into effects of water pollution in aquatic ecosystem. See, so first of all, talking about aquatic ecosystem. See, in aquatic ecosystem, because of water pollution, first of all, oxygen level that is dissolved oxygen is reduced. Okay, so because of dissolved oxygen is reduced, so the oxygen sensitive uh, organisms, like we have small phytoplanktons, mollusks and fishes. Okay, they starts eliminating. Okay, they starts disappearing. Next we have biocides. Biocides and heavy elements, like we have heavy metals, etc. Then we have PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyl. Okay, so these substances, they directly kills, or we can say they directly eliminate the sensitive organisms, sensitive aquatic organisms. So they are eliminated from the ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. The next is, because of the reduced, we can say, dissolved oxygen content, we have increase in biological oxygen demands, and because of increase in biological oxygen demand, the oxygen level of the aquatic ecosystem, it further decreases, and this kills many aquatic organisms. Okay, next is our human health is affected. Okay, so because of water pollution, what happens, the water is polluted. Okay, so the polluted water, it contains various pathogens, like we have viruses, bacteria, then we have parasites, protozoans, etc. So these, all these organisms, they, when they are when we drink the water, okay, they are introduced in our body, which causes various waterborne diseases, like we have jaundice, we have cholera, typhoid, MABSS. Okay, so all these diseases are caused. Next we have the heavy metals, and because of introduction of metals, like we have mercury and other metals, these it toxicates the water. And when it toxicates the water, various uh, medical problems occurs in the human and other living organisms. Okay, now next we have is lead. It leads to underground water pollution. Okay, so because of excessive nitrate in drinking water. Now what are the sources of excessive nitrates? See, we have fertilizers. Okay, so fertilizers, when they are introduced and the water is sprinkled, the as we have already discussed, the water and the nitrates, they seep inside the soil and they are introduced to groundwater. Okay, so because of which the groundwater, it becomes polluted. Okay, so now what happens when the nitrates, they are introduced in water? So excessive nitrate in drinking water, it is very harmful for the human health. It may be also fatal. Okay, next is because of excessive fluorides also, we have various diseases. Mainly the diseases are neuromuscular in nature. Okay, then we have problems or stiffness in our joints, etc. And teeth, our teeth, they starts deforming. Okay, now over exploitation of underground water, it may lead to leaching of arsenic in the soil. Okay, arsenic from the soil. So there, these are various causes, effects of water pollution. Next is biological magnification. See, we have already studied this biological magnification. So it is directly when the marine organisms, they are introduced to this contaminated water, so they also have these pollutants inside them. Okay, so when they are consumed by the living organisms, they also are contaminated, or we can say, sorry, they are also affected by these pollutants. So this is the whole process of biomagnification. Then we have eutrophication. See, when sulfur and phosphorus like things, they are, when they are introduced, they actually lead to very fast growth of uh, algae, etc. Okay, so now when algae, they grow, okay, they, what they will do, they will increase, or they will increase the biological oxygen demand of the whole aquatic ecosystem. Now, when there is excessive growth of these algae and other plants, the oxygen demands increases, and what happens is, when the algae, they die, they start floating over the water. Okay. Now, because of which, what happens? The oxygen is also, the source of oxygen is also depleted, and the sunlight is also depleted. Okay. Now, what happens after this? The oxygen level, it decreases so much that the life in that ecosystem is not possible. So because of this, the whole ecosystem, it starts to die. Okay, so this is eutrophication. Now next is our acidification. See, acidification, ocean acidification is simply a change in ocean chemistry. Okay, now because it is acidification, so pH level of the ocean will fall down. Okay, now this pH level of the pH level of the ocean, it falls down because of uptake of carbon compounds by the ocean. So this uptake of carbon compound may be because of acid rain. Okay, maybe because of the acidic discharges from the industries and other areas. So what happens when the carbon is introduced in the water? It forms H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. Okay, then this carbonic acid, it divides into H plus HCO3 minus. Okay, so what happens, this further adds to other carbon dioxide and forming carbonic acid, and this further bifurcates into H plus CO3 minus minus. Okay, then this is a acidic form. Okay, sorry, this is a carbonate ion, and this will mix with water and it will form acid, while this H ion, hydrogen ion, will further react with carbon dioxide to form the carbonic acid. Okay, so this process once started, it will go on magnifying itself. Now, because of increase in pH level or because of increase in acidification of the ocean, there is a reduction in aquatic life, because what happens is, because of acidification, the hard shelled organisms also, they also face a problem, because their hard shell is, it reacts with the acid and it is degenerated. Okay, so it is difficult for these organisms to survive. Then the skeletons of the living organism, it is damaged. Then, so because of this, the aquatic lifestyle is damaged. Next we have is our coral bleaching. See, coral bleaching is, it is basically the bleaching, or we can say the paling of coral colors. Okay, so as we have already seen in some of the YouTube videos and other areas from other sources, so the corals, they are of different colors, different vibrating colors. Okay, so because of water pollution, like sudden increase in temperature, solar irradiation, okay, then exposure to the direct atmosphere, okay, then sublimation, acidification, and freshwater dilution. So because of various reasons, the coral, they start fading away their color. Okay, so their pigments, they start fading away. So this process or this thing is basically known as coral bleaching. Now, because of coral bleaching, what is happening? The lifestyle, the aquatic lifestyle is being damaged, or it is being disturbed. See, corals, they are the shelter for many living organisms. So because of coral bleaching, these shelters, they are being distorted, and this is leading to the loss of aquatic biodiversity. Okay, then various corals, because of coral bleaching, various coral species, they are dying. Okay, and this is leading to loss of our coral organisms, coral species. Okay, so these were the effects of water pollution. Now, these were the effects of water pollution. Now we will look into various control measures so that we can control the water pollution, or we can reduce the effects of water pollution. First of all, the solid waste which are discharged in the oceans, and which when they reach to the deeper ocean, they forms plastic islands because of gyres. Okay, so these what we say, these solid waste can be, like, they can be barred from reaching the deeper ocean by using buffers. Okay, so these buffers will help in, or they will help in preventing the movement of solid waste into deeper oceans. Next is the industrial waste or domestic waste, the sewage plants. They should discharge their liquid waste after the treatment. Okay, so these waters should be treated, and then they should be released in the water bodies, so that the aquatic lifestyle should or we can say the aquatic ecosystem will not be damaged. Next is the hot water that is released directly into the water sources from the thermal power plants. It should be first cooled down and then it should be released in the water bodies. Okay, now the domestic cleanings of tanks, streams and rivers that supply drinking water, it should be prohibited. Okay, next is the excessive use of fertilizer and pesticides, it should be avoided, so that the required amount of nutrient in the soil will be supplied, but it should not be so much that the nutrients they leach in the soil and they pollute the groundwater. Okay, and instead of like using fertilizer etc, we can use organic, we can practice organic farming and use natural decomposed material like animal residues etc as fertilizers and manures for the for increasing the fertility of soil. Next is the soil, sorry, not soil, oil spills when they occur in the marine area like oceans and all, they should be fastly cleaned with the help of brag oils. These brag oils, they are the residues of paper industries which resembles the sawdust, oil zappers and microorganisms. Okay, so they actually they soak the oil. Okay, and because they soak the oil, the layer of oil on the ocean is removed, because of which the dissolved the oxygen supply is reached back to normal. Okay, so these were some of the steps that can be taken to control, or we can say reduce the water pollution. Then after this we have some of the government's policies and laws that to address this issue of water pollution. So for that we have various laws, like we have section 18(1)(b) of Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Okay, so we have Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, which addresses this issue of water pollution. Apart from this, we have National Lake Conservation Plan, National Wetland Conservation Program, etc., for addressing the issues of water pollution. So these were the information about water pollution, and with this we come to the end of our lecture. So that was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Let's meet in our next class. Till then, take care and have a nice day. Thank you.